Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're watching
DONTAE'S
Boxing Nation.
All right, DONTAE'S Boxing Nation over here with Boxing Ego and my man A-Rap King. We all just got done watching the fight right now. So Gennady Golovkin, he gets what, a 5th round stoppage. Let's start with you, Boxing Ego. How do you rate his performance? Because Golovkin himself, he said he gave himself a 3 out of 10. So how do you rate his performance, E?
I thought he was very vulnerable, very human. Those are the best words that come to mind. And I told people going into this fight, this was kind of a lose-lose fight for Golovkin. Because we know Kell Brook is a skilled fighter, but he's a skilled welterweight. So a guy can jump up 2 weight divisions, and I don't want to hear about Sugar Ray Leonard did it, or Roberto Duran, or Shane Mosley, because one common denominator is those guys were considered the absolute, without any doubt, best in their division, or they had accomplished resumes by the time they decided to move up. That's what this whole thing is about. Shane Mosley was blowing through all lightweights at the time, knocking them out, most of them, right? So for him to move up and fight Oscar De La Hoya in a money fight against a cash cow made all the sense in the world. Kell Brook, we don't know. I mean, the best name on his resume is Sean Porter, which is a good name, and he looked good in that fight. But he had to, without fighting Keith Thurman and Floyd, Pacquiao, Errol Spence Jr., we don't really know that he's absolutely the best welterweight. More so, he's a champion and it's a projection. And we damn sure don't know for him in his last 3 fights. So that's why it was lose-lose for me for Golovkin. Because Golovkin was getting hit a lot, no defense, no head movement, and people have in the back of their mind, like, all this happens at the hands of a skillful welterweight. What happens if you get in with someone who's equally skilled, who's naturally of the note, of the size, of Golovkin, or of the power? You know what I'm saying?
That was the first time he dealt with someone with athleticism and had decent power and had a nice resume when it comes to, beating someone like an undefeated Sean Porter. It just goes to show you, man, if Golovkin was in the welterweight division, or if he had, opponents like the welterweight champions or even the super middleweight champions, you could tell that Golovkin, he would be in a lot of trouble. I mean, once again, man, I'm just really, really surprised that Kell Brook, he was actually able to hit Golovkin much easier than he was able to hit Sean Porter. Who would have really thought that? And to see Gennady,
I would have.
Man.
I've seen Sean Porter's game, and the thing is, he's a former football player, and he does little subtle things, and like a lot of people are like, oh, it's kind of roundhouse type of tactics, but the one thing that I see with fighters like Robert Easter versus Richard Commey, Sean Porter, those guys have a natural rhythm and a natural level of athleticism that I don't really see in Golovkin, right? Golovkin has a lot of other good things, jab, good balance, but he's not athletic. He's not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, his own. But that's why it was harder to pin down Sean Porter, who's the shorter fighter, unlike Golovkin was maybe a half-inch taller or whatever. But he's a shorter fighter. He gets real compact, gets low to the ground like a football style. You know what I mean? And he comes in and he's athletic.
Yeah.
He's conditioned. Me and you've seen his gym and you've seen the level of conditioning.
Yeah.
So he's a phenomenal kid.
And
so that's why it's hard early.
Yeah. And then, what's funny is, this is how Golovkin looked in this fight. He looked like that big-ass heavy bag, you know what I mean, that doesn't move. Ego did a video with Troy King, and Troy King basically said that welterweights are the light heavy bag or the speed bag, and then he pointed that the big ass heavy bag and was like, that's Triple G right there, and that's what he was in this fight because he was taking a lot of shots, but it didn't kind of, he was able to take them because he was the bigger man, but but it's not great to be compared to a heavy bag.
No,
literally he was just taking everything,
Well,
no head movement, no defense, or whatsoever. So,
hey, but
this is new media so I gotta call bullshit to something that I'm hearing from fans. The people that are saying that Golovkin is taking free shots from all these multitudes of fighters, that's just such a bullshit. That sounds stupid. He let Willie Monroe swing on him. He let Kell Brook. Why would you do that? Like you said, me and Dante said off the record before we started, why would you let someone give you a bloody nose?
Yeah.
You want to look vulnerable. Like, it's not even about that you can't take it.
Well,
you want your head rocked.
Hey, but you could take it, but you could take it even further, because even Golovkin himself is not using that excuse, because after the fight, they asked him, how do you rate your performance? He said, I give myself a 3. And then on top of that, I played it for you, Ego. Then he admitted, he said, I felt I lost all rounds but the first round. So why didn't he, if fans are trying to defend him and say, oh, he just wanted to get hit, why isn't Golovkin saying that? Why isn't Golovkin saying, oh, I was just playing with him. It was too easy. I just wanted to play with him and let him hit me. But when he got hit, he didn't react like a tough guy that's like, come on and hit me. Because usually when you see guys react like why is that exactly who I was about to say. We in sync right now, because that's exactly the name I was about to drop.
I'm gonna see if I can find the clip, but I covered Mayorga's last fight with Shane Mosley at the forum, and I got shots of it. You might be able to put in the video where he was just letting Shane Mosley hit him. You know what I'm saying? He was literally letting him hit, and then he stopped it from him.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah, that'd be nice to put in the video right now as we talking. Yeah.
The other thing is this. I have an old teacher that told me practice makes permanent. Not perfect, but practice makes permanent. So the thing is, why would you create a habit of allowing yourself to get hit, knowing that you've been calling out all these elite level names, some of them haven't wanted to fight you? It's not a good habit to be letting people hit you, even if we all know it's not true, but I'm just saying using their logic, using the captain's logic, doesn't make sense. That's like me being in college, and I have one teacher that I'm real cool with, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to just turn this paper in late because the teacher will accept that. You know what I mean? But not every single teacher is going to accept that.
Yeah.
You want to be as studious as possible, because not everyone is going to allow for those things. And that's the same thing with the fight game. Not everyone's going to allow you to give them free shots and not beat you down. You know what I mean? Beat you down.
But the main thing is, look at how he reacts and how he responds to getting hit. That's the main thing that people really need to pay attention to. That's how you know that's some BS when you say, oh, he likes to get hit. Because it's the contrary when you guys really look at the film. You look at Golovkin's face when he gets hit, he clearly does not like to get hit. Not only does he not like to get hit, but he feels very uncomfortable and he backs up. Like I was telling you guys, like I was telling you, Ego, before we went on before we start recording, I said that Oscar De La Hoya, he said, the Golovkin, he has to rely on his power. He can't fight going backwards. And that's exactly what we've seen in this fight. Once Kell Brook let his hands go, Gennady Golovkin didn't just stand there and go toe-to-toe with him. Golovkin would stop punching and he would back up. You know what I mean? So,
there's another great comparison, and I know from first-hand experience to cover this fight. But Brandon Rios, I went to see Brandon Rios in Alvarado in Denver, right? Brandon Rios is on record saying, oh, I have an orgasm when I get hit. Yeah, I love it. Fuck yeah, I love it. And then Robert Garcia's like, I know you love it, Brandon. So if you look at how he acts when he gets hit, maybe he does love it because he keeps getting hit. He doesn't change his game plan.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He'll get hit by Mike Alvarado, and he's like, okay, that's your best shot. And then he'll keep coming forward doing what he was doing before. But you notice with Golovkin, when he gets hit from someone who has some power that might be respectable, he seems to reset and oh, okay, like back off. He doesn't just keep doing what got him to get hit. So that shows me he has a level of intelligence, and that just debunks that real quick.
Yeah. Think about it. If you love getting hit and you getting hit at that moment, after Kell Brook finishes combinations or whatever, what Golovkin should do if he loves getting hit? Keep walking forward like it ain't discouraging. Just some more or whatsoever. But he was backing up or trying to find out how to avoid them type of shots or counters. Which he's bothered by it.
Yeah, like I said, once again, if you compare this fight to Robert Easter versus Comey, in that fight, both of those guys were being tested. to the highest level. They had never been tested at that, level, right? They're both fighting, and everyone is determined. Either one of them are determined. Both of them are determined to win the fight. So the bottom line is they're both getting caught with hard shots that they never got caught with. Comey has a 94% knockout ratio, and he catches Robert Easter with a vicious right hand, and Robert Easter comes right back. He's not deterred. He's not discouraged. And that's not how Gennady Golovkin looked when he was getting hit against a welterweight. Same thing with Comey. When his knees buckled in that 11th or 12th round, whatever it was, he came right back and he started fighting, right? Now, granted, he was really, really hurt, I think, in one of them rounds where he had to basically, buy time. But for the most part, them getting hit, it made them want to fight even harder. You know what I mean? But when Golovkin got hit, he started to slowly become unraveled. He was no longer cutting off the ring. He was no longer jabbing. He didn't look anywhere near as good as he looked in the first round, if you guys noticed that. Golovkin never looked as good as he did in that first round once Kell Brook started to land punches. He started to fall apart. So, yeah, I mean, AK. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I want to clarify because people take this out of context. When I'm saying nobody shouldn't like getting hit. But however, when you coin the term Mexican style, say it's all about pushing forward, that's what's making this is where we're saying that style, you're not really staying true to that style that you're saying. It's like, oh, I want to bring excitement and stuff like that. So that's what we're talking about with not getting hit. If you don't want to get hit and that's your MO and you're content with it, that's one thing. But the thing is, Golovkin is promoted as he doesn't mind being hit, and the fans are saying he's getting hit on purpose. But if that was the case, then why would he be backing up or pausing for a second and looking? Every time, I've noticed little stuff. Every time Golovkin gets hit with a pretty powerful shot or sequence, he looks like alarmed. Like, oh, you motherfucker, you just trying to hit me? Like, he looks surprised. I've seen in the Curtis Stevens fight and also in the Kell Brooks fight. It's like he's shocked that somebody stood up to him or something.
Mm-hmm. Hey, so...
I think someone get clocked with big shots or whoever, and they don't look alarmed like that to me.
And I'm telling you right now, AK, after this performance, I'm thinking that even Golovkin himself, he's probably saying to himself, man, if I'm struggling against a welterweight, ain't no way I'm moving up to super middleweight. I'm staying my ass at the middleweight division. You think that's what he's saying right now, AK?
Of course. He ain't going to no 168 pound, division. Not at this moment. Because, again, Kell Brook is a 147 pounder at the end of the day. So, and he was able to do all that. You know what I mean? So I think at least he's gonna try to see what he could do at 160 against the top fighters. And then if he just walked through everybody, then he might consider that. But at this point, there's no way he's looking at fighters at 168, especially now Kell. That's one he will never fight. I mean, he ducked Andre Ward for good reasons, and Kell's gonna be the next one. And like,
I'll tell you guys straight up, the walls are closing in about not fighting the top level guys. I think even a Gilberto Ramirez fight at this point, based on certain variables, would be something I'm really interested in seeing.
No doubt.
Ramirez is champion. He's a full-fledged 6'2", because I met him several times that fight, right? He's tall, you know what I mean? And he has it looks like he has a pretty solid chin. So there's a lot of great fights that can be made now for Golovkin, especially after people see this. I'm sure that the phone's going to start ringing more.
Yeah, I mean...
I want to fight him too. They both called him out. They both said once Golovkin comes once they can't wait to beat him. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, we know they want to fight. So it's on Golovkin and his team because all these 168 pounders, most of them want the Golovkin fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I was telling both of you guys earlier, I think that Golovkin, not only is he a sucker for a lot of punches, because clearly we seen his defense was terrible, and his defense was really exposed so much because once again, the caliber of an opponent that he was facing tonight, because he was facing a guy that was far more athletic and more accomplished than all the other guys that he was facing before. The one shot I noticed that Golovkin seems to really be a sucker for is the uppercut. And I was telling you, Ego, and telling you, AK, that yeah, I truly believe when it comes to fighters like James DeGale and Chris Eubank, one of their best weapons is an uppercut. So this, man, the plot is thickening right now. It's really getting interesting right now because I don't favor Golovkin over any of these guys, like not by a large margin anymore. I mean, now the way I'm looking at things, almost all of these fights are 50-50 fights as far as I'm concerned. Golovkin versus...
I said this on my Instagram. Canelo, I was always under the impression that Golovkin would probably stop Canelo. I always knew it would be a good fight, but I think it's even a better fight than people expected. Now, you can bash Canelo for the dropping the belt, vacating the belt, or whatever, but in terms of stylistic fights, if Canelo fights like he fought in the past, and Golovkin fought like he fought in the past, that's a really good fight, too. You know what I mean? Because Canelo, another person, great punch variety, he has power, he's big, bigger than Kell Brook, naturally been fighting multiple fights at even Canelo weight, unlike Kell Brook, who had a very limited fights over 150. He didn't fight no top names over 150. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Canelo has nasty uppercuts. These are all good fights, and it's just, I think the fans are going to start getting to the point where they're going to demand, we got to see Triple G. No more small guys, no more Ishida coming from 54, Rosado coming from 54, Kell Brook coming from 47, or just guys with little names like Willie Monroe or Sadama. We got to see the real deal. He's good. How good is he? We have to see him in there with the DeGales and whoever.
Yeah.
Danny Jacobs.
Yeah. And another thing, you know, about Canelo, he does his best when he fights fighters like Angulo with no head movement. Yeah, they have power, but they don't have no good, good defense, neither head movement. And we saw
what did I just say to you? What did I just say to you on the phone about Angulo and Canelo?
Yeah, you talked about that, how he just kept pressuring Canelo.
Same thing.
Yeah. And
so with Golovkin, yeah, he's a little better, and he's a better puncher, and he cut off the ring, but that's what makes it more exciting because, like, it's almost a 50-50 fight. But, I mean, Canelo does his best fighting guys like that. So that I'm really, really interested in the Canelo-Golovkin fight. And as far as Dante, what you were talking about earlier, at 168 and 160, most of these fighters you think is going to be 50-50 versus Golovkin. Me, honestly, at 168, I see them beating in Golovkin.
yeah,
But at 160, I might still favor Golovkin. However, versus Canelo, that's a 50-50 fight right now. I mean, I'm honestly, I was under the same impression, just like Ego. I used to think Golovkin will stop Canelo over the long run.
These are the fighters that I believe beats Golovkin right now, hands down. I mean, I don't even really have to mention Andre Ward's name anymore, but I would say if Demetrius Andre moves up, I believe Demetrius Andre, he beats Golovkin hands down. I believe James DeGale. I believe, and I didn't even feel this way before this performance. Before this performance, I would have slightly leaned towards Golovkin to actually beat James DeGale. But after this performance, I definitely lean towards James DeGale to beat Gennady Golovkin. I think Gilberto Ramirez, that's a 50-50 fight. But if I was forced to bet, I probably would lean towards Ramirez in that fight. I mean, it's getting to the point to where Danny Jacobs, if it wasn't for Danny Jacobs' chin issues, I would pick him to beat Golovkin hands down. But it's just, he basically has an asterisk, next to his name because he's been knocked out before. We really don't know how good his chin is because he's been knocked out. But his power, his boxing IQ, his accuracy, the fact that he could fight aggressive, he could be the attack dog like he was against Sergio Mora last night, or he could play the role of the boxer puncher like he did against Peter Quillen. That he possesses a lot of challenges for Golovkin, but once again, how will he take Golovkin's punch? But see, once again, man, after everyone watched what just took place tonight, I think people are so pumped up, and they said to themselves, man, all I gotta do is stay in the fight and keep pushing this guy and pushing him until he cracks under pressure. I believe that's what a lot of fighters are seeing right now, because that's what we've seen right now. We've seen...
And you got the clear...
we seen Golovkin fall apart. That's what we seen. Go ahead, Ego.
I was gonna say you got the clip, and I've noticed this for a while. But Oscar De La Hoya, he's one of the first industry people, like people actually trainer, former fighter, that was saying it. Golovkin, he needs power to beat you, and he also said, Golovkin, we don't see. See, this is the thing. This is people get mad. Like, why are you bringing up Floyd Mayweather? It's because we've all seen his fight, and because he does a lot of things right in the ring. And when I judge a fighter, like how good they can be, pound for pound stuff, I look at it like who can beat that style. And Floyd Mayweather has proven southpaw, fast feet, fast hand, slow hand, power, bigger than me.
Yep.
He finds a way to get it done.
Yep.
Different weight class, taller than me, shorter than me. You know what I mean? More rugged than me. You know what I mean? Because that Judah was faster than me. He looked faster, and he was a southpaw. So he found a way to reverse it. So when I look at Golovkin, I keep seeing the same patterns, like him pausing when he gets hit and stuff like that. And I'm not, you still, to his credit, you got to be able to deal with what he dishes out. But like De La Hoya said, I never seen him do certain things, like fight off the back foot and be effective, right? I've never seen, like when the guy is coming at you throwing weird-ass punches all the way from Argentina to the NGM, like Maidana, you know what I mean, throwing these crazy, a lot of Argentine fighters have these crazy looping shots that they hit you weird places. And Floyd defending against all of that. And Maidana was like 15, 20 pounds bigger. He was a champion in the first fight. And Floyd is fighting off the ropes and all that. You never see Steve Golovkin push people to the ropes. I've never seen him, I really can't remember a time where he fought off the ropes, but someone had him backed up with power, same kind of Maidana situation. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know if he can fight off the ropes like that. I don't know if an inside fight is his deal. I don't know how he would react to a cut, how he would act to a headbutt that creates a cut, or
he already,
more power than him.
Like I said, he already looked uncomfortable when he was bleeding from the nose. I told you, when he was sitting in this corner, I seen him, you know, he rubbed his nose. He already looked frustrated. He looked a little discouraged. And then all of a sudden he...
Okay, I gotta say this to Dante. Speaking of frustrated and discouraged, if you guys seen the Kell Brook fight, Kell Brook had his best round in round 2. I think we can all probably agree to that. And after that successful round, Golovkin seemed so pissed, where he was just like coming forward, no head movement, no defense. He was just like, man, I gotta put a hurting on this guy. I gotta get some get back. And that's not smart when you're fighting elite. Like, that's why I wanted to see the Tall Frost fight so bad, because Tall Frost is big. You know what I'm saying? You said you want to fight him at 2K. Tall Frost is a man's man. He got a chin, he got power. You know what I mean? That would have been a great fight. No undersized dude. And you look at it, Golovkin seemed so mad that Kell Brook won up him in the second round that it didn't seem like he was fighting with any kind of authority. He just kind of went balls to the wall to, I'm going to put so much pressure on him, the small guy's going to break.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not what we've seen with Golovkin. That's not what, that's the, matter of fact, there was a moment in this fight when Golovkin, he had Kell Brook in the corner. He had the small man in the corner, and he threw like a 1-2 combination, and then Kell Brook, he came back right away, and soon as Kell Brook threw like 2 punches, Golovkin backed up. Golovkin, he backed up, and he let Kell Brook out of the corner. So, I mean, yeah, like you were saying earlier, Ego, when he talks about this, he loves Mexican style, his style ain't nowhere near Mexican style. It ain't nowhere Mexican style. Because when you think of Mexican style, you do think of fighters like Margarito. You think of fighters like Julio Cesar Chavez, Yuri Boy Campos. These are the type of fighters you think of when you think of Mexican style. You don't think of a guy who gets hit and they say, ooh, man, this guy, he has some power. Let me rethink what I'm gonna do over here now. No, that's not what they do. They walk through the punches. They take about 5 shots just so they can land their 2 or 3 or their 6 shots. So listen, I mean, the thing is, when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, and this is what I wanted to ask you guys, or I wanted to say, Canelo is going to be a fool, man. If Canelo don't jump on this situation, I think if Canelo, even though he showed that he doesn't have the biggest heart in the sport of boxing, but if Canelo was smart, this would be an opportunity for him to tell the world right now, you know what, guys? I am fighting Golovkin next. That's what Canelo should do, because I'm telling you, right now, everybody, they're licking their chops, and they're all saying, wow, this dude Golovkin is easier than I even thought. So now everybody wants to be that first guy to take away Golovkin's virginity. You know what I mean? Take away his O, basically. So if Canelo was, I think he would jump up. But hey, AK, do you think that's going to happen? You think Canelo going to surprise everybody and say, I want him next now?
Honestly, yes, I do, because, I mean, he'd be dumb not to, because the type of backlash he's been receiving, if he don't step up to the table now, I mean, when will he step up? You know, I mean, we already know he was avoiding the fight, you know, prior to this fight, but, I mean, while I was watching this fight, I was like, man, Canelo's fighting him next, just based on what I was watching, because let's not forget, Canelo is a good combination puncher, and if you throw combination to a person that doesn't move his head, hey, you're going to be doing some serious damage. I don't care how much of a good chance you know, Golovkin has.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of course, Golovkin has that power to hurt Canelo, but, you know, will Canelo risk it? I feel at this point he has to, because of the pressure of the fans and of him seeing Golovkin exposed. If Golovkin wasn't exposed today, he would probably never fight until he's like 40 years old. But because he was exposed and we seen the lack of defense, I feel like Canelo will jump off. I mean, he's going to have to.
Do you know what this would do for Canelo's legacy if Canelo became the first fighter to either stop or just beat Gennady Golovkin? You know what this would do for his legacy, for his reputation. So he would be a fool not to, man. He would be a fool not to. But I want to say this too, Ego. You know, this situation, since we're talking about, you know, baiting Canelo out with a bad performance, is interesting because the situation is very reminiscent of the Oscar De La Hoya situation. A lot of people don't pay attention to the things that Oscar De La Hoya did in his career. They always say how Oscar never ducked anybody and all this kind of stuff. That's false. That's completely false. Oscar De La Hoya, I give him credit. He fought a lot of great champions. But when it came to fighters like Fernando Vargas, it's very reminiscent of this Canelo situation, because when Fernando Vargas was undefeated and he was aggressively pursuing an Oscar De La Hoya fight, calling him out all the time, Oscar said, I will never fight that man. I'll never let him make money off of me. This is what Oscar said when Vargas was undefeated. I bullshit you not. I remember watching Fernando Vargas get knocked out by Tito Trinidad. And while I was watching it, I said right after the fight to everybody in the room, I said, watch guys, I guarantee you Oscar De La Hoya is now going to say, you know what? I changed my mind. I'll fight Vargas now. And I bullshit you not. The following week, one of the biggest articles was Oscar De La Hoya says he's willing to fight Fernando Vargas now. He did the same thing with Mayorga too. When Mayorga was beasting and he was beating Six Heads Lewis and he was beating Vernon Forrest, when he was beating all of these guys, he wanted Oscar De La Hoya. And Oscar De La Hoya was completely ignoring him. Soon as Mayorga got knocked out by Trinidad, then Oscar De La Hoya, he said, I'll fight Mayorga. So I'm just saying the same thing may happen in this situation with Canelo Alvarez. This may be his chance to, you know, grow some balls and say, you know what, it's you know, the time is right now, right? So we'll see. But
another thing I just want to point out, I just want to ask y'all right quick, what do y'all think Canelo, one of his best counters? You know, when he's trying to counter you, what is one of his best punches that he loves to counter with?
I mean, he counters with the right hand too over the jab, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I was trying to, you know, point out the uppercut. Sometimes he was missing it against Floyd now, but against Golovkin, I don't think he'd be missing it.
That's
Floyd or Golovkin don't move like Floyd too. So yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, it's a stationary target versus someone moving like water. Speaking of Mexican style, are you guys watching this Soto Caras versus Kamagai?
No.
That's what I'm talking about.
Here, hold on. Let me turn it on.
They're throwing 1 billion punches per round, and no matter what, they keep coming forward. That's kind of like their game plan right now. What I'm seeing in this fight. That's not what Golovkin was doing. he would stop. Like, there's no pause. Like, Soto Karasu gets blasted in some of these rounds, and he's not pausing. I mean, he's getting his head rocked back, but he's not pausing. Like, hey, you hit me? And that's kind of what I do with Golovkin. It's like a small hesitation.
And that
one stands up.
And that's what you call
like a continual motion. They're trying to fight on. They're just throwing punches.
Yeah, I just
it's like right now. Oh my God. I'm throwing a million punches no matter what.
And what you just basically said was what Golovkin has given us is called false advertisement. He claims he's giving us Mexican style, and that is the exact opposite of what we are really getting. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, I'm telling you, the wheels are coming off, dog. The wheels are falling off right now, and it's only a matter of time. I'm telling you guys, I don't see Golovkin remaining undefeated, you know, by the end of 2017. I see him with a blemish on his record before the.
Yeah, I mean, if he has to step up in class for his division or go up to 68, then that's something different.
Oh, but you know what? I just thought about something. They could actually end up Are you watching? Oh yeah, I'm watching it now. Yeah, I'm in the 4th round. I'm watching it. Yeah, I see they going toe to toe in the center.
They're just throwing haymakers. That's what I'm saying. They're just throwing haymakers.
Yeah, that's like you said. That's the real Mexican style. And you see Kamagai, he like, man, this dude just too damn easy to hit. So that makes him want to stand there and go toe to toe even more because Karras is so damn. Yeah, but hey,
how many pauses they have in between the succession of punches? You know what I'm saying? Not too many. They're just all like hands up.
And once again.
In the case of a Milk fight, you're like, let me work behind the jab, let me be smart. That's cool, but that's not what was advertised. Like you said, that's not what you said you were going to give it. You said you were going to give it. That was the best person to have a slugfest with. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at Matisse versus John Molina Jr., we all knew what type of fight that was going to be. And it turned out to be a Fight of the Year candidate because of the style. We all thought. They were even, HBO was saying it was Hagler Hearns too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh man, pay-per-view too?
What?
And that's how we got. We got a one-sided beatdown because of smart game planning, which is cool, but that's not what you told me it was going to be.
Well, but once again, Ego, kind of like what you just said, it was perfect timing for you to bring up this as an example, this Kamagai fight against Karras, because once again, you notice when they get punched, they come right back. When Golovkin gets hit, he stops in his tracks. It's like he stops everything that he's doing and he waits for you to finish. You can't do that against an elite power puncher with athleticism. You know, so I'm telling you, man, he's going to have a lot of problems. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if they try to start protecting him the way they did Canelo, because you remember when when he came close to losing against Lara, it seemed like they kind of regressed and they said, you know what, we can't come that close to losing again, so let's go ahead and put Canelo in there with guys that are more of a guaranteed win. That's when we got the Amir Khans, the old faded Angulos, etc. Now the Liam Smiths. I think they may have to do that. If they want to keep Golovkin winning, they may have to really pull back on competition. Hey, in Boxing Eagle, I forgot to tell you this too. Did you notice, I don't know if you caught this, but Jim Lampley, when he was interviewing Golovkin at the end of the fight, he mentioned some fighters out there that Golovkin could fight. He only mentioned Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo, but he never mentioned Danny Jacobs. Now, I was talking to AK about this. Do you think he did that because he didn't want to give PBC shine, or do you think he did it because he thought that Danny Jacobs was the biggest threat against him? Ego. AK, you there?
Yeah, that was the meeting. I'm sorry. I was watching this. Crazy.
Oh, okay. No, I was saying with Jim Lampley, when he interviewed Gennady Golovkin, he only mentioned Billy Joe Saunders and Peter Quillen as an opponent. He didn't mention Danny Jacobs. I was saying, you think he did that because he didn't want to give PBC shine, or you think he did that because he feels Okay, or
I think that it might be a network crossover. They don't want to give no plug. Like, hey, Danny Jacobs just bought on PPC. They probably don't want to give any sign. So we talked to him. Remember when we were at the forum? And he said he would love to make it. He has a working relationship with Al Heyman. So hopefully they make it. Triple G and Jacob. That's a good fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yo. Hey, well, I'm a wrap it up, and we'll probably talk again after the Roman Gonzalez fight. But I just wanted to close with saying this, and then y'all could give y'all final thoughts. But Ego, me and you talked about this too. It's funny how we came to the same conclusion without even talking about this. But I said it. I told you that Golovkin has a bully mentality, right? That's basically his makeup. He has a bully mentality, and then you told me that's exactly what I said in the video that I just made, right? And that's exactly what we seen in this fight. We seen Golovkin is good at dishing it out, but he's not good at taking it. That's exactly what we're seeing. And if you're struggling taking punches from a welterweight, imagine if you are dealing with a full-fledged middleweight who has the same type of power or similar to your power, right? Or even a super middleweight who has some type of power and they have the confidence of an undefeated fighter possibly, or you know, they just have that amateur pedigree, whatever it is, to where they come in the ring as confident as Golovkin is. How is Golovkin going to deal with that if he could barely deal with a welterweight? And that's obviously a long rhetorical question, but yeah, that's pretty much what I've seen. At the end of the day, Golovkin was extremely exposed. Who would have thought it would only take 5 rounds to see Gennady Golovkin at his worst? You know, so that's.
And I had this conversation. I gotta add this. I had this conversation with people regarding Andre Ward in '68 and also a fantasy fighter, Roy Jones. I had no doubt in my mind. I knew it back then, and I know it now, that I really feel Ward would have dog walked.
There's no doubt about that now.
Especially Roy Jones in his prime. If we're talking about prime Roy. Oh my God, that was a bit.
You remember them uppercuts? You remember them uppercuts and hooks that he finished Vinny Pazienza off with, right? Dope.
Yeah, or Montel Griffith, it was like a leaping hook.
Yeah.
And he knocked him out. Yeah, see, Golovkin, he wasn't prepared for it in close quarters. He needs to kill Brook hook. So imagine him being in a position where you're not even supposed to be able to throw a hook, like Roy Jones was famous for. I mean, he did leaping, lunging hook from 2 feet out, and he still connects. Crazy types of speed. That's pretty good hand speed, but not. I mean, it ain't Roy Jones speed.
Man, I'm telling you guys, it's going to be interesting to see who Golovkin faces next after this performance. You got Bank, you have Danny Jacobs, you have Canelo Alvarez, you have all of the super middleweights. I mean, it's starting to look like it almost had looked for Pacquiao until he found, you know, a Jesse Vargas little, you know, escape route. But it's looking like when it comes to Golovkin, it's like there is no safe fights for him unless they start throwing him in there with some Liam Smith type of guys that we never heard of, just to be on the safe side. But all of those, who?
So you know,
yeah,
that's Island.
Yeah. I don't know too much about him, but yeah, man, that's how it's looking right now. That's how I was looking for Golovkin.
And Dante, before we finish this, I just want to ask real quick, as far as the Roman Gonzalez fight versus Carlos, y'all think he's going to get maybe exposed a little bit, just like Golovkin tonight, or y'all think he's going to get the job done? Or I don't know about it. I don't know about exposed, because he's the one actually doing what Golovkin's not doing. Golovkin had a guy traveling to him. He's actually traveling up. But he could be exposed in the sense of where they're rating him, like ESPN and HBO.
Well,
if he's pound for pound #1, it don't matter. Moving up, he should be the favorite. Like when Floyd moved up to a new weight division spot to Marcus Corley.
Well,
but I mean, I can give him credit for moving up a division. I mean, that's for better character.
Oh yeah.
Only 3 pounds.
There's no doubt about it. Roman Gonzalez, he looks way better in this situation. Like you said, he's doing the opposite, the complete opposite of what Gennady Golovkin is doing. But even with that being said, he could still be exposed, though. You know, even though he's stepping up in weight, he's facing a tough challenge. You guys have to remember, this is still probably Roman Gonzalez's biggest test. Once again, just like, yeah, well, just like when Terrence.
I don't know if he fought an undefeated fighter before, to be honest.
I don't know if he has. He may have, but I'm not sure. But this,
I don't think he has, dog.
But this is his biggest test, no doubt about it. He's facing an undefeated, tough Mexican, confident, naturally bigger, you know, just as strong, most likely, and a guy.
Awkward too.
Yeah.
Like awkward.
He has foot movement that is usually like kryptonite to a flat-footed aggressive fighter. You know what I mean? So the bottom line is, we seen how Terrence Crawford looked when he stepped up and he had his toughest challenge. We seen how Errol Spence, even though I'm not saying Errol Spence is, you know, faced a guy on Kadras's level, but every time he stepped up, the point that I'm making is, he dominated. Terrence Crawford dominated. When Floyd stepped up and he fought Diego Corrales, he dominated. You know, so the question is, can Roman Gonzalez go in there? Can he do that? Because if he goes in there, he gets knocked down, he gets hurt, the decision is controversial and all that kind of stuff, yeah, he will be exposed. Exposed just basically means now a whole bunch of other fighters, they see a whole bunch of chinks in the armor and they like, oh, I can't wait to fight this dude. Oh, this is gonna be easy. Please don't beat him so I could beat him. Because I think that's what a lot of middleweights were saying tonight. Like, please, Kell, Brook, you already exposed him. You did your job. Now, please don't beat him so I could be the first one to beat him. You know what I mean? So, I think Roman Gonzalez, I think it's a good chance Roman could get exposed tonight. I really do, you know, but if...
As far as exposing, I mean, people say Roman is like one of the best pound for pound fighters. People say he's number one, right? So you're supposed to make it look easy.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, so if you don't make it look easy, then, I mean, and you make it seem like you're on the same level, then what makes you live in him? Basically, y'all basically kind of on the same level. Yeah, you shouldn't be on top pound for pound.
No.
You know, and that's have him. And like you said, Dante, I mean, if you look exposed and get hit too many times, and this is his first time fighting an undefeated fighter. I mean, last time I checked his record, I don't remember him fighting anybody who was undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so this is his first time fighting an undefeated fighter, and if he looks bad, then it makes him look bad. I mean, look how many top fighters Andre Ward fought, and he made it look easy.
Yeah.
You know, same thing. And these are pound for pound quality fighters.